What I like about the 2131 VCO is its reliability. You can track pitch perfectly with this. You can browse the full spectrum of octaves without a sweat. You want a reliable VCO like this in your system. And it's compact, so it does the job. So if you want a straightforward VCO, this is something you can and you should consider. Besides that, you have the classic coarse, fine, and PWM knobs. You have, of course, a PWM CV input. You have a sync input with its hard or soft switch, 2 1V per octave inputs for transposing, for example, and 3 waveform outputs, the saw, the triangle, and the square, and you have an FM input. As they're built right now, the pulse width modulation is acting in a glitchy way. So basically when you reach the different thresholds, the sound stops. So you will create that kind of glitch sounds if you're injecting a modulation in the PWM input. Or you can offset your signal to avoid that. But I've discussed with the builder, and he told me that for the next, and take that with a grain of salt, but he told me basically that his plan at the time was to make this not on the glitchy side of things. So by injecting a modulation here, you will never cross the thresholds where you stop hearing any sound. So if you're on a budget, compact VCO, reliable, check this out. There's a link in the description. The EG2, the envelope generator 2. 2 probably stands for 2 types of envelope generation. The attack decay envelope that comes with a trigger input. You send a trigger and you only go through the attack and decay mode. And if you send the gate, you go through the full ADSR envelope. Besides that, you have one single input, CV input for each step of the envelope, attack, decay, sustain, and release. You have an attack output and an envelope output. What I like to do with this, and I'm gonna show it in the demo, is that I like to send only one voice in a VCA with 2 different waveforms, and each of the waveform are sent either the attack output and the envelope output. So you can set things up so a single voice sounds like 2 different voices, if that makes sense. You create different accents while you can have the other waveform going through something that's more smooth, and you can play with the different settings to make that sound very interesting. So you're gonna hear that in just a moment. And one last thing here is there's a manual trigger. Here you need to have a gate signal to be able to interact with this, but basically when you're receiving different signals, you can always re-trigger the envelope or press and hold to kind of like sustain a gate. This is very interesting. If you're looking for an envelope generator that is not high in HP, that is reliable, sturdy, and straightforward, you should check the link in the description and consider it. The Hexa VCA. You always need VCAs, or you never have enough VCAs. So this one is compact. There's 6. So again, if you're in a small system, this comes in very handy. You have 2 blocks of 3 VCAs that are normaled. So basically when you have 3 signals in the first 3 VCAs, and you can basically just send 1 modulation signal at the top, and the 3 signals will be modulated. So this is very interesting, straightforward. Sometimes you don't need that IntelliGel quad VCA that allows you to shape the sounds with different curves responses and things like that. You just want to have something that is straightforward. And basically this, when it's patched with the modulation, this acts as a volume. So even if you have modulation it is at 0%, you hear nothing. And it just acts as an attenuator basically. So, and it does the same thing when you don't have a CV input. Just have a signal in, and what you get at the output is going to be attenuated. If you're, again, on a budget, you're tight in your system and you want something that's compact, reliable, and very practical, consider this. I enjoy this module. I'm even considering keeping this instead of a quad VCA from IntelliGel, just to tell you how convenient that is. And right now I'm mostly using a VCA for turning the volume up and down with envelopes and things like that. I'm not creating complex modulations or whatnot. So yeah, look this out. There's again a link in the description. All right, I guess that's it. See you next time.